on a path or on a journey and we're not sure where to go because we don't know how to take the path that's going to result in less pain or less wasting time or less wasting money or going the wrong direction. So we don't do anything. We just kind of stand still and just hoping that someone's going to create the path for us. Or we avoid claiming the path that we want and we avoid choosing the direction we want to go. And so we just end up hoping that someone else will tell us for us. So today, as all the pieces are coming together, whichever part you may be in, if you're not really sure where you want to go, just walk, and just trust that that next step will be revealed to you, all right? And if you do know you want to go, allow yourself to be even more focused, more clear on how you want to get there. At the end of the day, you're going to arrive somewhere. Your choice on which path you take. Are you guys with me? All right, so those doing the snacks, please wrap it up because I want to introduce our next speaker here. Grab your muffins, grab your cupcakes real quick. So next up, we have Ann Margaret, and I'm gonna save your last name because I'm gonna butcher it. I don't want to do you like that because you are esteemed. Ann Margaret is a master's in public health. She is a leader in suicide prevention and crisis intervention. She serves as the Director of Crisis Services and Operations for Response Crisis Center, overseeing programs including partnerships with the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and completed her MPH at Brown University and previously served as a board chair for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention's Long Island chapter. She is a certified ASIST trainer and certified animal-assisted intervention specialist. Now, before I bring Ann up here, I also want to just set the tone real quick and just get real with the conversation, all right? We heard from the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention earlier, and we understand how the topic of suicide can be very dense. It can be very complicated, it can be complex, it can be very uncomfortable. But the reminder is that's why we're here, to learn how to equip ourselves to, one, either have this conversation with someone else because we might see something, or to have a conversation with ourselves and be resourceful. So please turn on your listening. Just so that, I'm going to share something that I shared with you like the men earlier, is listen with your heart right now. And the heart says, you're not going to listen from a place of judgment. You're not going to listen from a place of trying to figure it out. You're not going to listen from a place of trying to fix anything. Just take in what Ann has to share and equip yourselves with more tools. So please, everyone get a round of applause for Ann Margaret.
Thank you very much.
So here, turn them up.
I think we got me. Yep. All righty. Hi there, everybody. The last name's Dubell, in case that was something that was really stuck for you today. It's actually Dubell Bodie. Don't tell my husband. It's fine. It's fine. That was completely my fault. They did an excellent job. I'm really grateful to be here with you all today as we talk about different paths to healing and what that looks like and have a real conversation about suicide. Something you're going to notice as I talk today is that suicide is something that I come to excited to talk about. That might seem odd, and I don't want to be dismissive of how much pain there is with suicide. As a person with lived experience myself, as a loss survivor, as a member of our community that is seeing every single day the pain that suicide brings, I don't want to be dismissive of that. But where I'm standing today is a decade into a career in suicide prevention, where 10 years ago, I never would have gotten up here and said I had lived experience. And being open with you, that wasn't because it was something I was hiding. It was because it was something I often didn't identify in myself until I was at the crisis point. When I think about your willingness to be in this conversation today, you are probably coming from a lot of different backgrounds right now. You might think you never need to talk about suicide in your entire life, and why am I hearing from this person who had to talk about their last name? You might be sitting there with a very painful story that you've experienced at some point of lived experience or loss, and you might be sitting there having no idea where this conversation can take you. So all that I ask is that we listen to it and we talk about the stories and the people behind them for a little bit. For the next 20 minutes, we talk about the fact that while suicide can be very complicated, there are simplicities that are true of human beings that might make a difference if we can learn how to have a conversation about it. I think about this a lot with introductions, even my own, where we're missing so much of the story, right? You know where I went to school, You know, some of my proudest accolades, the job that I do, what I love more than anything in this life. But you don't know me very well. And that is not something that just extends to our conversations when we talk professionally. How many people this week have asked a friend or family member, how is everything going at work? How many people asked, how are you doing? And meant it. And we're prepared for that person to say, I'm in crisis right now, and knew what to do next. It's a hard conversation to have for us, but it's one that we're more than capable of having. When I think about all of the suicide prevention trainings that are out there right now that can help you to learn a lot about what's going on, warning signs, how to have the conversation, something that I've noticed is that when we think about pain, the reality is people communicate pain in a lot of different ways. They didn't consult with a researcher before deciding how suicidality was going to show up in their life. They just had it show up. And so they might not communicate in a way that we're really recognizing it in the moment when an intervention can happen and when we can talk to somebody. We might think that somebody is too young to be having thoughts of suicides, so we don't want to bring the conversation up. And I can tell you one of the warning signs that I saw of an elementary school student was a poem that they had written. It was about a bag of hope. It was relatively literal. And the elementary school student was talking about how their bag of hope had run dry, how they couldn't find it anywhere. They kept looking. Why did it stay empty? That paper was handed to a teacher, graded, given back. No conversation happened. You go to any suicide prevention training, what is the first warning sign they're going to tell you is hopelessness. How many 8-year-olds do you know that know the word hopelessness? But they know the feeling. Another story that I've heard, and I've had the privilege of hearing many stories in my life, courtesy of my role in the community, is about how culturally it shows up different. If you look at the Cultural and Suicide Prevention Institute's research, we're talking more about why we have to start looking at the physical symptoms, because not all of us are going to have our words, but we're going to have that stomach ache that we've gone to the doctor for over and over, and one more blood test and one more doctor and one more specialist. And that's if you're lucky enough to be able to afford every one of those copays. Just to have a single person never ask you about your mental health, despite the fact that that impacts every part of your body. And another one that I've talked to had to do with this idea of loneliness. The Surgeon General talked about loneliness being one of the crises, the epidemics of 2023, and that's continued through a lot of research in health right now. But it's not about being alone, it's about loneliness. And we sometimes are equating those two things. I want you to picture a teenager, maybe one that you know, maybe one that you love, that is well connected to their friends and family, that they have people regularly in their house, they are engaging in their sport, their activity, whatever it is. And I want you to picture them at a party that they're hosting. And what would happen if that person stepped away in their moment of crisis, feeling incredibly isolated in this crowded room, and nobody noticed? They went to their room, they closed the door, and the people who are supposed to love them the most didn't even question where they went, didn't question the fact that they were self-harming during that time. They didn't question the fact that this person disappeared or cried. And when that person came back, what message did they get when nobody had noticed? Because we were taught to look for the tears, but not to look for the face after that isolation had happened. We were taught to look for the hopelessness, but not to actually learn what hopelessness looks like. Every one of these stories is part of my journey with suicide. Because I feel when we talk about storytelling, sometimes the one we have the most right to is our own. I don't remember writing that poem, but I do remember when I started to write and I stopped giving it to people to read. I do not remember every little party that I had with my friends, but I absolutely remember wishing somebody had noticed I'd stepped away. I don't remember those things, but I do remember how I felt and how it changed my relationship with going and asking for help, because I thought I was asking for it, screaming from the rooftops. I just thought people didn't care. I don't want to put that pressure on the people in my life, though, because nobody ever taught them what I was trying to say, and nobody taught me how to say it. Part of my story is that I experienced chronic suicidal ideation. I've had it for different points in my life. I've had moments where there's crisis. I've had moments where it's a fleeting thought in the background. And what I learned is that the people in my life really struggled to understand how something as intense as suicide was quiet sometimes. because we think it's going to be screaming. I've taken to describing this to my friends and family similar to how we look at the sky. Do you ever notice that the sky is blue once in a while? Maybe it's a different shade of blue. You notice a change. The sky has changed. You notice when it's nighttime, when there's a full moon or a half moon. But the sky is kind of just always there, a background to everything. But the pervasiveness of the sky being blue doesn't make it any less blue. And the pervasiveness of living every day of my life thinking that I shouldn't be alive didn't make it any less painful on Tuesday than it was on Friday. The isolation is what made it really painful. So what is the solution here? How are we going to have that conversation? Is anybody in this room scared to ask the question, are you having thoughts of suicide to somebody you love? Are you afraid of the question or are you afraid of the answer? Why are you asking the question? Because you already know part of that answer. Every one of these examples, when I sat down and thought about them, I could have come up and talked to you about the crisis points in my life. When I really believed that I would act on ending my life, when I had a plan, when I had a timeline, when I had everything in place to think that I was as close as I could be to ending my life. But that's not where the crisis started. That's not where I needed somebody to intervene. At one point, I had a friend who went into my computer. I'm not advising anybody to do this because it was password protected. But teenagers are teenagers, and they're going to teenage. They went into my laptop, and they found this poem where I spoke about being insignificant as dust, as only a 16-year-old could. And for them, they now had to get through the barrier of, first of all, they'd crossed a boundary because they were concerned about me. They wanted to see what was on there. But they also felt so disconnected from me in that moment. Because what they said to me is that I was the most significant person in their life. How could I ever even have that thought? And why had I never shared it? But I'd shared it in elementary school, and I stopped sharing it. My partner now, just yesterday, ruined this speech with a great example of being a great partner, recognized that I had had a small mistake. I overslept and I missed an appointment. And while I am a crisis counselor who can handle some pretty intense things, I talk about suicide every day of my life, I missed an appointment and I felt bad because my cat didn't go to the vet that day. That was enough for me to be in a full spiral, which might sound really strange. But you know what the difference was in that moment? Another small thing that happened, that my husband knew that I was in recovery from eating disorder. He knew that I was going to skip dinner that night. He knew that I was not going to try to talk to anybody that day. So when he came home, he had dinner ready and he sat on the bed and said, okay, we need to talk about whatever's going on inside there right now. Not because I'm going to understand it, but I have to be present with you. When we talk about the suicide warning signs, sometimes they're happening all at once. Sometimes they're happening very quietly, and we're missing them. And we're not missing them because we don't care. Sometimes we're missing them because we're afraid. If you've ever had to ask somebody, are you having thoughts of suicide before? Then you know it can be really intimidating to be sitting across from a person you love, particularly, and to ask them if they feel like they can continue in their life in this moment. But people communicate their pain and they feel like we're missing it. So isn't that worth our discomfort? Isn't a life worth our discomfort? The ability to talk to somebody and ask them truly if those thoughts are happening and to know what to do next. I know this can be the start of a conversation and we could talk about a lot of different things in here, but even figuring out the willingness to have that conversation, that you're all sitting here and listening to this, that now we're in a place where we will put people on stage and say, tell this part of your story so I can catch that person that I love story. That's a different place than we were in 10 years ago. In the suicide prevention field, when I would go to past events, I never talked about my lived experience. I didn't think I should be in the room. I went to my first event when I was 14 years old because somebody told me that they wanted someone to come and be part of a suicide prevention walk. And I was somebody who stayed up all night with my undiagnosed ADHD and my ability to simply just not sleep. And I showed up at a suicide prevention walk the next day where I learned about family dynamics. One woman came to me and she told me about a son that she lost, Jeremy. I still say his name because I care about him a lot and because I have the family's consent to do so. And then she told me about another member of the family who would not talk about the loss of another member of the family. It was a private shame. Nobody talked about it. Here was this family that we could talk about it, but we still couldn't talk about it. In my own family, I was about 6 years into suicide prevention when I learned that my great-grandfather had died by suicide. A family secret that never, ever would have been uncovered had we not found a way to a suicide prevention walk that happened to be in our community. It seems like small things that we're talking about here. It seems like that small moment, but those are the moments where we can typically intervene and have a real conversation with somebody, where we can get them connected to a resource, because our answer doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be present. We do have to be in the room when we're having that conversation and have a willingness to hear that someone is in the deepest pain of their life and they need our help. When we talk about that next step, I know that there's so many different things that can look like. We haven't even talked about the cultural things that can be going on that different individuals are processing in different ways, the challenges that we have when we talk about the social determinants of health, the fact that there are systemic failures that are happening, and all of that is true. And that can start to make us feel like we don't have a role to play in suicide prevention. That's how I felt for a period of time. And then I realized the power of that story, of when you actually gave somebody the time to speak to it. When I'm on the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and I'm answering a call from somebody, it is the time that they finally are willing to share what has been on their mind for some time, or it might be the 20th time they've called us that day. And every one of those conversations matters. And there might be somebody in your life that you're thinking of the whole time I've been talking. Maybe you've been worried about them. Maybe you've had conversations before with them. Maybe there's been a time you've dodged a conversation because you weren't sure what to say. But figuring out how to say something has to be our first step. I know that it can be intimidating to have these conversations, especially if you don't know where to go next. I know that it can be scary to hear, yes, I've heard it. From some of my most loved people, I've heard it. But I know that every one of those times, I'm so grateful they were here the next day, that I got them connected to another resource, that they were able to call 988, that we knew that a mobile crisis team existed, that we talked about community as a resource, because when we talk about connecting to care, we're not just talking about a suicide prevention line. When I think about those physical symptoms that we talked about before, and all of the times that I trusted my doctors, you know who I didn't trust was myself. I was a suicide prevention advocate who refused to go on medication because I was taught that you were supposed to kind of strong arm and get through it. As much as I was taught that you can reach out for help, I was taught medication wasn't part of that help. I would not be on this stage right now if I didn't have a psychiatrist who really countered that argument and figured out how to say that to me, and kept saying it for about 2 years before I was willing to take this first medication. That is what healing can look like. Healing is that moment where you have that conversation. It's also that moment where somebody feels completely seen. It's the ability to be able to communicate about what's going on at the start of a problem, and starting that conversation, something that we're really hoping to do is to prevent an end. I hope that you feel confident in having one of these conversations today, and that if you feel called to hear a story from somebody you love, or if you feel called to learn more about your own and find ways to communicate it, that you think about the different types of trainings that can help you to do that, or the different conversations you can be having that only you know how to, that can make this better. I thank you all for your time, and I hope that this is the start of a new conversation for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was such a soothing conversation, very tough conversation. I don't know. Can we just take a breath? Ooh. One more. Talk about stretching out the rib cage and leave some space, because we're going to continue a little bit on with Dr. Fred Moss, who's going to speak to us about, share a little more about managing the process. All right. So we're going to just keep it going with what's possible around a very difficult conversation. So also remember that you have resources here. So again, between the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, between Dr. Moss, you have resources that ask the questions if you want to know how to navigate the conversation a bit better. All right. So Dr. Fred Moss, MD, otherwise known as the Undoctor, is a board-certified psychiatrist with over 40 years of clinical experience and the founder of the Welcome to Humanity. Dr. Moss shifted his focus from traditional psychiatry toward communication, creativity, and authentic human connection as core pathways to healing. He is the author of The Creative 8 and Find Your True Voice, and the creator of the True Voice and Creative 8 methodologies. He speaks nationally, advocating that healing begins by remembering what it is to be human. So please, Dr. Fred Moss.
So this one's it?
Health outcomes continue to decline. For decades, the standard response has been to label, to diagnose, and to medicate, treating the human experience as a series of chemical errors to be suppressed. But what if the distress we feel isn't a defect? What if it's a signal? Our upcoming speaker has spent over 40 years at the highest levels of clinical psychiatry. A graduate of Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine, his work has touched every corner of the field, from state hospitals and telepsychiatry to leadership and system-level consultation. After sitting across from more than 30,000 patients and listening to tens of thousands of human stories, he reached a turning point. He had spent a lifetime inside the system, but he realized something was missing. So he made a radical choice to stop looking for what is broken in people and start looking for what is real. This evolution led him to become the author of Find Your True Voice and Creative 8, and the founder of the Welcome to Humanity movement, a space where people gather to reclaim their own growth and transformation. Known globally today as the Undoctor, he leads a movement that returns healing to its rightful home in communication, in creativity, and in our innate human intelligence. He is here to challenge the narrative, bridge the gap between medicine and humanity, and restore our connection to ourselves. Make some noise, show some love, and welcome Dr. Fred Moss.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for choosing to heal. Thank you for choosing how to learn how to heal. Thank you. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, sorry. So, I want to start by saying something. First of all, you heard all my thank you. They're all real. So I want to start by saying something that's really very, very simple and critically important. Pain is real. And you all know it. Struggle is real. And you all know that. And it truly makes sense. I've spent my life sitting with people in pain. And what I have learned is this. Most people are not broken, really. Most people are overwhelmed, unheard, unseen, and then trying to find a way through something very real. Thank you. Go ahead. Next slide. What if there is nothing wrong with you? What if pain and misery, difficulty and life challenges, and suffering too, are part of the human experience? As uncomfortable as it is, what if it's part of what it means to be alive? Next slide. Sometimes wanting to die go ahead. Yeah. Is simply wanting a different life. Under no conditions am I diminishing the thoughts of suicide that many of us have had. And the people who have suicided that we know. Shelley and I had a conversation a few weeks ago about the difference between a completed suicide and a successful suicide. There really is no such thing as a successful suicide. There is, without question, such thing as a completed suicide. And the thing about suicide that we often don't talk about is we have never interviewed anybody who has suicided. So we don't know. But we can be pretty sure, along the lines of exploring this, that how life was going wasn't working when someone commits suicide. Next slide. One thing I have learned by sitting across thousands of people considering suicide is that when I connect with someone who's considering suicide, healing occurs. It may not be enough, but upon being heard, upon being seen for who they are and who they're not, there is an explosion of healing. Like, oh my goodness, this person gets me. And as we've discussed in breakout a couple times today, there is no more powerful medicine than exactly that when that occurs. You don't have to be a doctor to connect to somebody. And you don't need to go to a doctor in order to be connected with. This is a human trait. We're all after it, and its power is undeniable. Human connection, that's the cure. It's way better than, next slide, diagnosing, and in fact, way better than medications. Next. If this is resonating with you, I would love to send you a gift about this stuff, a couple of sheets that I've created for this purpose. So feel free to take a picture of this QR code. And my team and I will send you these gifts. You go to the text area of the contacts and just leave me your full name and your best email, and we'll get it off to you. The medicine was never in the bottle, for real. It was always and will always be between us. By the way, you are still here, and that truly matters. Congratulations. This code here is a little different than the other one. This will get you a conversation with me directly. I'm able and willing to talk to you about any areas of life, certainly have experience in the world of suicide and in suicide ideation, more than willing to share anything I know, including directions and people or ideas or practices that might serve your purpose. It is my honor, my deep honor, to don the stage this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here.
Well done. Thank you, sir. Great job. All right. On that, I'm going to untangle myself. There we go. Take another breath, fellas. Actually, guys, ladies, gentlemen, women, everyone stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Move around a little bit, move around a little bit. Don't give me the crazy eyes in the burgundy jacket. Just stand up and do it. All right, we're here to heal and move. All right, so again, just like we did before, inhale in, and exhale, shake it out a little bit, shake it out, shake your shoulders a little bit. Sometimes the emotions get tense, they get thick. And one more breath in. Get on your way down, go and tickle your neighbor, There you go. All right, good. So we're going to keep it moving here. So we're going to have not an experiential speaker coming up right here. So get ready for Jenna Bradshaw. She is the founder of, Jenna Bradshaw Vital. That was your company name there. The founder of Holistic Human Performance, working as a holistic health life coach and a spiritual wellness mentor. She's an author and a speaker. She specializes in nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming, and energy-based healing. Jenna also guides individuals through an integrative approach using sound bath healing, which some of you guys can do a little bit at the decompression room, and to release stress and restore balance and reconnect with inner alignments. Please welcome Jenna to the stage for our tapping experience.
All right, hello. Just a show of hands, has anybody experienced a tapping meditation? It's called emotional freedom technique. One person. All right, a couple. Well, I'm honored to guide you all through this, especially after some heavy, deep, dense conversations. This is something that you can utilize in your toolbox whenever you need at any point in time. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tapping on specific body parts, which I will guide you through. And then you're going to affirm a statement, which I will say, and you're going to repeat it out loud. Sound like a plan? All right. And I just want to say I'm honored to hold space for you all and kind of close this out. You're going to feel really good after utilizing this. So everybody, take a nice deep breath in and sigh it out, let it go. 2 more just like that. Breathe in and let it go. Last one. Breathe in. Deepest breath you've taken all day long. Let it go. Beautiful. And now what I want you to start doing, I want you to simultaneously start tapping at the center of your forehead and at your chest. Same time. Yep. And as I guide you through this, whatever you feel, just surrender to it. And I want you to allow yourself to just come back to your breath. Come back to the present moment. Beautiful. And now you can rest your hands. I'm going to have you start tapping right at the karate chop point of your hand. You're going to repeat after me. Even though I'm feeling all of this dense emotions, I lovingly accept and forgive myself. Even though I'm feeling, I lovingly forgive and accept myself. Even though there's been some hard conversations today, I lovingly forgive and accept myself. And now you're going to start tapping right at your forehead, middle of your forehead.
I'm feeling all of these emotions. Side of your eyes, temples. I'm feeling all of these emotions. Underneath the eye. And that's okay. Underneath the nose. I'm still here, willing and able to change. Chin. Even though I'm feeling, and it may be causing some mental affliction, chest, and maybe I'm even feeling some emotional density. And I may be feeling it physically. You're going to go right at the rib cage. I'm still here. I lovingly forgive and accept myself. Top of the head. I may be overwhelmed, and that's okay. Forehead. I still lovingly forgive and accept myself. Temples. And even though I'm sitting in all of this density, there's still room for change. Underneath the eyes. And maybe I'm feeling shame, guilt, unexpressed feelings. Underneath the nose. I'm showing up for myself right now. Chin. And it's okay to speak these feelings out loud. Chest. And maybe I'm feeling fear. And that's okay. Ribcage. Because I still lovingly forgive and accept myself. Top of the head. I love myself unconditionally. In mind, body, and spirit. Take your hands, place them on your heart. Close down your eyes and just feel this shift in energy. Deepening your breath. Letting it go, exhaling. Just rooting and grounding into your body. Should be proud of yourself for showing up, for wanting to be a better version of yourself. Deep breath in. And sigh, let it go. And just settle into this feeling and know that you can always come back to this whenever, wherever. You just have to be willing and able. And you can always reach for this in your toolbox. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you need this?
I lost mine, so I'm going to steal it.
You can steal it. There you go.
All right, very good. Help me out.
Give me.
Teamwork makes the dream work. There it is. All right, who feels a bit more relaxed right now? A bit more grounded? I love these kind of techniques and tools because sometimes we can really overcomplicate what the process can be like. When we think of being healed, when we think of going through transformation, it's like this big, massive metamorphosis of going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's just one little technique at a time to bring yourself down to a place where you can actually go forward and you're not so tense all the time, all right? If you learned something good this week, you just say, raise your hand up. You learned something good. If you're ready to learn something, do something better, even more in the next 5 minutes, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, because now we're going to the decompression rooms. So here's where a very key element, key parts of the journey and the process right now is being able to move the body, move the energy. So we're going to offer you some different opportunities to do that. Now, for those of you, if you look at the back of your lanyard, this has been a riddle all day today. First the wristbands, then a Dotling wristband. So on your lanyard, on your back of your lanyard, if you have the number 1, you're going to be in the art therapy group. Art therapy. So if you have number 1 on the back of your lanyard, you look at your name tag or your lanyard there. What's that? Okay, cool. Okay. Yep. Stand up and just make your way over here to art therapy. All the number 1s on the back of your name tag, your lanyard, you're going to do art therapy. You're going to follow the sign right up here at the front door. Now, if you have number 2, you're going to be in the boxing group. Number 2 is going to be a boxing group. Look in the back of your name tag. Yep. Back in the room. If you're facing the back, if you're taking away from the stage, look over to the back to the right there. Boxing. Your number 2s. All right. So we have art therapy number 1, boxing number 2, and then number 3. We have the yoga and meditation group right over here. If you look in the back of the room towards the left, middle of the door, raise it high, below the exit. There it is. Meditation, number 3. You look at the back of your lanyard, number 3. And then number 4 is going to be the sound bowl group. Sound bowl right here. All right. So move quickly for your expansion. Now, if you do not have a number and you would like to participate, I say it's going just wild card. Choose a group. Everyone gets some medicine today. So number 1, the art therapy group is hanging out the door. So if you have number 1, start skedaddling. Number 1 has left the room. Number 2, boxing. They're still here. There's boxing. Boxing's still here, but they're leaving right now because we want to give them time, plenty of time to do their thing. Number 3, we have the yoga and the yoga group back here. Number 3, yoga. And then number 4, the sound bowl. Sound bowl is walking out the door. Sound bowl, sound bath. Yep. Okay, look, you have to use the bowls to get the bath, okay? For all you really technical people, all right? They go hand in hand. All right, there you go. You got to start taking off. You have about 60 minutes to decompress, integrate, move the energy, move the emotions, bring it all together. All right, sound bath. You guys can take off. You guys can take off. Yoga group. Yoga is taking off. The train is leaving. Karina, which one are you doing? So I think Karina wants to do boxing or yoga. You too, Doc. You get to do something too. You see, I forgot your name. Dr. Chris, Dr. Crystal, Dr. Ty. There it is. I got it. Dr. Ty, what are you going to do? Okay, we can decompress too. All right, so the groups went to the decompression room. So if you are going to try to find your own group, because you missed the bus, the art therapy group is in Quintine 101. Art therapy, Quintine 101. Art therapy, Quintine 101. Boxing is in the amphitheater. Boxing, if you are straggling, your group has left, you are in the amphitheater. The yoga group is in Hale Hall. Okay, no one saw that at all. No one saw it. The yoga is going to be in Hale Hall, and the sound bath is in Quintine 100. If you have missed your group, the sound bath is going to be in Quintine 100. Okay, so that's done. You're welcome. Did you? On my jacket? As soon as I took it off, I was like,
Right where you put it.
yeah.
Right?
Was in a safe spot. Did you?
This shit don't work in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm walking around
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
You know, it's right here.
Yeah, where's your group?
Oh, I had all of this right
You have what?
now.
Yeah, I can imagine. How are you feeling? Good. Glad to hear. Glad you're here. Good. Glad. So how did you find out about this event? Oh, yeah, is that right? Okay, very cool. All right, so you had no choice.
I had no choice.
Yeah,
So you coming?
yeah,
No, no.
yeah.
Oh, yes, you are.
I won't fight you. I won't fight you.
You know, call so many times, I had no choice.
Yeah, yeah. Glad to hear that. She's what? Yeah, 100%. Well, it's just so, yeah. Well, it's just so interesting because sometimes we think like to have these tools is like a sign of weakness, or somehow as if you mess something up, or it's like, well, no one was taught this stuff, and so we just kind of carry this whole pattern on over and over and over again, passing on stress and anxiety and.
When you have the tools that you don't feel you need the help, and you can help someone else.
100%, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the key.
Mm-hmm.
to the
Agreed.
whole thing.
Agreed. Agreed.
I remember I was supervisor, and I said, you know, you gave me the worst office that you can do. And you got patients here that I have to talk to, and their families are not all there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got me in a corner
Mhm.
of my own office where I'm going to be sick.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They look at me like I was crazy.
So.
I said, how would you like to be cooped in there while you got the daughter that's just crazy, more crazy than the mama?
Right. Right. Right.
They didn't understand that. I said, if you don't understand it, you missing it.
Right. Right.
You set me up when you came in this office.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't catch. What'd you say? What you said? You're a supervisor of what? Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Like drug rehabilitation or mental health and all of it. Okay.
I
Yeah.
worked in the rehab, so I had
Got it.
everything. And this is when they had all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Drug addicts,
Mm-hmm.
and crime goes into the football, blue stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oof, that's tough.
Yeah. And if you're a supervisor, it would be stricter.
Yeah.
Where you go? I got something to watch. You know what?
Hanging in there. You as well. I'm glad you're here. Well, I'll see you later on. Okay. Yeah, me too. Good. I'm glad. Hey, you don't be pressuring my mama. We're having a conversation. Yeah. All right. She's getting her things together. especially.